Well, hello again, truth seekers, happiness seekers. I am Nolen-John Zander. I am talking about the World Economic Forum in the closing remarks, so I'm going to be pausing this video, which hopefully you're not going to see too terribly much change because I don't move that much. So, the forum's global collaboration village is a metaverse thing, according to the speaker at the World Economic Forum, in collaboration with Microsoft. So I'm a little bit concerned about this, considering it is a metaverse-centric collaboration village on a global scale. So you can bring in all kinds of people from all over the world. That sounds great. Okay, it can also sound very terrible. They also mentioned something about global security for the cooperation for the 2030 agenda. And I can't help but put those two together. So when you're talking about global security and you're talking about AI technology and you're talking about all this stuff that they're talking about this year, it's going to have to go together. These are cutting-edge technologies, and these are the people with all the big money bags. So who's to say, just like Facebook, or Mark Zuckerberg has actually come out and admitted that it is the opinion of the individual that is doing the fact-checking. So it's not a fact-checker, it's the opinion of this so-called fact-checker. So when I have a company that's called Organic Farms that insinuates that the produce is organic, but that's just the name of the company, right? There's nothing organic about Organic Farms, which means that if I'm hiring somebody to be some sort of fact checker and they're not checking the facts and they're just using their opinion and moving on to the next thing, that is not a fact checker. So they cannot be called fact checkers. It is a title that they're using to manipulate the idea of what that individual is doing. They're politically motivated because it's based on their opinion. And if they are being hired by a company, they have to meet certain criteria. So at the job interview, what are they asking? What questions are they asking? Are you a fact checker? Where do you go to find these facts? How do you know if this person is telling the facts? Well, I go here and I go here and I go there and I check the facts. It would take a while, but I'd check the facts. That's not what they're doing. That's absolutely not what they're doing, according to Mark Zuckerberg himself. It's the opinion of the person. So it's politically motivated because a lot of the stuff that's being censored is political statements. And it's conspiracy statements. Because somebody has a couple of facts and says, this doesn't make any sense. And this is what I think it means. And here's my proof. Here's my theory. Check it. What do you guys think? Like what I'm doing right now. What do you think about the idea that the United States government is a corporation? Right? As an example. The United States government is a corporation. How do I know this? Well, my previous videos state it. Let's see if I can find it real quick for you. Okay, so Title 28 U.S. Code 3002, Section 15A states the United States is a federal corporation and not a government, including the Judiciary Procedural Section. Proof. 534, Federal Supplement 724. The United States is a corporation, period. No elaboration, no other, well, because of the, no, it's a freaking corporation. 16 Statute 419, Chapter 62. It is well settled that the United States et al. Is a corporation, originally incorporated February 21, 1871, under the name District of Columbia. Fact. Law. Statute. That's an idea. So when I come up with this stuff, I'm not trying to talk out my anal cavity here, right? So that is something you need to ponder upon, okay? So when I ask some questions, I would like some responses. If you guys want to comment below, go ahead, right? That's what the comment section is for. I didn't shut it off because I can, right? So when the Global Collaboration Village, which is in the metaverse, partnering with Microsoft, and considering that the metaverse is led by Zuckerberg and Facebook, what does that mean? We're going to have fact checkers. We're going to have, we're already having people labeled as paper terrorists, which is what we're talking about when I talk about this kind of thing, okay? Which is conspiracy theories and the like, which most have been proven to be true, but nonetheless, they're still labeled as conspiracy theories by whomever does not agree with the idea that I present. So instead of doing the fact checking, it's not politically correct. I could be considered in one of the categories, such as a paper terrorist, a conspiracy theorist, et al., and it's not in line with the World Economic Forum's vision. Therefore, it needs to be silenced. Look at Twitter. And the only reason Twitter's coming to account is because somebody purchased it and is airing out all the dirty laundry. How much dirty laundry does YouTube have? What about Facebook? Hello? It's concerning because they're coming up with a new venue, a new global security watchdog that is funded by people that have no limit to funding, not governed by any government structure, not under any laws other than what the so-called World Economic Forum Corporation has deemed so. And I am sure, considering it's in the metaverse, there is no control over it, so they can do whatever they want. If they're in partnership with Microsoft, and most of the security systems are written by Microsoft, and by the way, most governmental systems and most people that are on the platforms, the conspiracy theorists, are usually on Microsoft-based platforms. Because Apple is a little bit more expensive, but still can be hacked. But is not really hacked because most of the hackers go after government secrets, and most of the government stuff is on Microsoft platforms, as I'm sure it was orchestrated by the powers that be. Also, in the conclusion remarks at the end of the detrimental speech by the speaker for the conclusion of the World Economic Forum, there was a lot of stuff I could pick apart there, but I'm just not going to go through it. I think I did a good job in the 5 points. After that, they started playing some stuff, some photos and stills of the Ukrainian war and the strife therein to tug at the heartstrings, of course, of people. But still, they're saying that they're using energy and stuff like, oil for weapons and such like that and withholding it. But what they don't say is that's not the only pipeline coming from Russia. It is one of the major ones, and it's the one that goes to the port in the Ukraine for external exports, right? But there's other oil pipelines that branch off from Russia. And if the World Economic is so concerned about using that as some sort of weapon, then why did Joe Biden shut down the oil pipelines that we were building when Trump was president? If they're so concerned about Russia's control of a certain amount of oil and energy, then why did they shut down the United States oil industry? Because we could have been running off of our own oil and we could have been alleviated of this so-called fake problem from Russia's oil. We would have been able to step up and been the saviors of the world energy-wise and make a good profit in addition. Instead, Joe Biden shut down the pipeline project, left a lot of the workers stranded in the work locations, unable to go anywhere because they're oil line workers and they're up there in their RVs with their families and they got no place to go. They were going to make good money, but they're not because the pipeline isn't moving. So what do they mean that the World Economic Forum did not see this coming with the war with Russia and the Ukraine? It's been ongoing for some time, even during Trump's administration. It's just when Trump was there, Putin was not going to be going and marching in there. There was still encroachment by the United Nations and NATO to stick weapon systems in the Ukraine. Donald Trump did not okay that, right? But when Biden stepped up there, they pushed that agenda forward. So the treaty was violated from the Cold War time frame. Is the reason why Russia allowed the Cold War to end and the split up of the USSR was with stipulations. One of the stipulations was violated by the United Nations and the NATO and the United States trying to put weapon systems into the Ukraine. That was a big no-no in the Cold War agreement on Russia's side and on the side of everybody that they agreed to. So they breached the contract. So I cannot wholeheartedly agree with the World Economic Forum, NATO, the United Nations, the United States, that we're doing this for the betterment of human society on this planet. Because I don't see it. Because of the facts that are there that they're not talking about. I'm not saying Russia is a good guy here. I'm saying that there's a breach of contract, and we're the ones that did it. So when we signed that contract, we agreed to certain things. And then now we're spending hard-earned American dollars off of your birth certificate money for Americans that's going to a war that was orchestrated for this purpose, to give money over $1 billion to the Ukraine to fight some proxy war. Now, understand this. The war in Russia, so-called, is a civil war, and if Putin wanted everything wiped out, he would have done so. He has not destroyed the political infrastructure as he should have at a war, because he wants to have it go back to some form of normalcy, right? He could scorched earth the whole country in a matter of days. He hasn't done it, right? But I may have to talk about the Ukrainian war in a different one. But the World Economic Forum just is not giving me any hope for the betterment of humankind by 2030 or even beyond that. I don't know what their true agenda is. I know what they're talking about, and I know what they're saying. And I know how to read between the lines of what they're saying. And it's sad that somebody has to do that because they're lying. And that's why they're using the English language when Klaus Schwab himself is a German. Founder of the World Economic Forum, and he's speaking English because the language is more malleable and one word can mean 15 different things. Go look at my quantum grammar on choosetobesovereign.com under quantum language. Well, that is the conclusion for the World Economic Forum for 2023 in the 5 points and the meeting itself. Some other videos may be up and coming later on in the year as, things unfold and I get more information on how things are going. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in the World Economic Forum, I'm not really, but you got to follow the money. And I'm trying to find the truth here. And I think it goes through the World Economic Forum for control of the planet. So that's why I cover it, and that's why I criticize it, that's why I scrutinize it, that's why I have these questions and these ideas. So hit me a like down there, subscribe if you have yet to, and don't forget that notification bell for my sexy face. I try to put these out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but considering the World Economic Forum is 5 in a row, and it's probably a hot topic right now, I'll probably throw that up for the week, one a day, in addition to the other ones. So, stay tuned, stay happy, stay truthful, love yourself, because that's the only one that will truly do so forever. It all comes from the inside. Don't look anywhere else. You know where it's at. It's in your heart. Good day and good week. Find your happiness, follow it, and stay tuned.